Hi, this is Dr. Vicente, and welcome to week 6 of Educ7100. This is an independent reading week, and to jumpstart your independent reading activity, I have prepared this short webinar, the title of which is Principal Effectiveness and Student Achievement. This webinar is actually a follow-up to the on-campus lecture, which looked at leadership and school outcomes. Do take note that the webinars are really just a stimulus and not a substitute to the actual reading for the week. This week's reading is interesting because it was created by a non-profit American organization called New Leaders. New Leaders was formed in 2000. Several professionals in education were attending graduate school at Harvard University, and then they joined what is called the Harvard Business School's annual business plan contest, and their business plan was New Leaders. It won the contest and it gained traction. Philanthropists all over America supported it, and from then on it has continued its steady growth. New Leaders provides training for would-be school principals, and at the same time they publish monographs such as the assigned reading for this week. Assigned reading, which is about 50-page booklet or monograph, looks at principalship and a new way of looking at effectiveness of principalship. It is quite a good read, easy to read and insightful. For this webinar, I'd like to focus on some key points that this document highlights. The first of which is this intriguing notion. Nearly 60% of a school's impact on student achievement is attributable to principal and teacher effectiveness. Again, this is a continuation of the groundbreaking developments that are being undertaken in school leadership and how this is linked to actual student outcomes. We can reflect and critically think about whether this phenomenon is also recognized in your respective contexts, the impact of school leaders and teachers on student outcomes, and what, if any, are the policies and practices being undertaken in your contexts to make sure that the student outcomes are maximized. Another point that the document raises is this. Schools making breakthrough gains are led by principals who have carved out a radically new role for themselves, including responsibility for school-wide practices to drive both student achievement and teacher effectiveness. Once again, the document highlights how it seems that in this new era of school improvement initiatives, what goes hand in hand is school leadership and teacher effectiveness. Interesting points for us to reflect on. The document also highlights some very interesting information, some very interesting facts. They have a graph which describes the impact of various reform strategies over time. They looked at small class initiatives, top quartile teachers, hiring really excellent teachers, and breakthrough turnaround leadership. In the graphic that you see, you will notice that across time, it seems that breakthrough turnaround leadership actually has a very significant impact on school reform. Again, these are points for us to ponder, ideas for you to consider as you engage with this particular reading. Another important graphic that they highlight in this video is what they call as school-based factors affecting student achievement. In this very interesting piece of information that they share, they've actually argued that human capital accounts for nearly 60% of a school's impact on student achievement. Well, the question remains, what would the other 40% be? Or other questions could be, what are schools like yours, for example, in the respective contexts that you find yourself, what are they doing to harness this human capital? Or do you even agree to this notion of human capital that drives student outcomes in schools? These are some just guide questions for you to consider. Again, the webinar is really meant as a stimulus as you engage with this week's reading. This last slide encourages you to undertake reflection. Reflection in action. What were the surprises that you encountered while listening to this short webinar? Reflection on action. What would you like to continue thinking about as you continue your journey in Educ7100? And of course, reflective practice. How do you plan to become a continual learner as you embark on studies on school leadership?